agree to an extension of time to Renaissance Downtowns at Bristol LLC to June 16, 2014, in order for the city to consider a further extension of the deadlines set forth in the preferred developer agreement between the city, the BDDC, and Renaissance Downtowns at Bristol LLC.
Second.
Motion made, second. Discussion. I will just say that in no way does this extension say that any of us support or don't support the project. This is simply giving the extension to BDDC to negotiate a contract extension on their end. So I just don't want that interpreted the wrong way in this motion.
Yeah, I mean, I want to address some of the things that so many people have come out to say. I was here last night also with several members of the council, and I see so many of the same faces tonight that you've come out to speak on this issue. And on both sides, it's commendable that you are willing to come out here and share your opinion. But looking at this from a few perspectives is interesting for me personally. One, I'm 21. Bristol is a place that I've obviously committed to making my own home as I try to build my own life. So a lot of what Renaissance and Bristol Rising and what the overall plan and vision so far is for downtown development is geared toward people just like me and my friends and the people that I've graduated high school with and are preparing to graduate college very soon, and our friends and our peers. But I also come at this from the perspective of somebody that the people have elected and trusted to try to make the right decisions for the entire city of Bristol. That's the #1 charge of everybody here on the council. So coming at this situation from both of those perspectives, I think that the recommendation from the Bristol Downtown Development Corporation is a worthy one. It's a good compromise for now. I am not ready to say that I think the proposed project is worth $6 million public investment. That's my own personal opinion right now. But I do think that after all of the people who are affiliated with Bristol Rising and all of the time and volunteer effort and hope that they've pinned on the success of this project, and for the new businesses that I'm proud to have in this city and that I'm proud to have frequented several times, are hinging on the success of this project. And no matter who you are, which part of the town, the city rather, you live in, or what generation you represent, downtown success is critical to Bristol's success for all of us. And in our best interest, we need to continue to work with Renaissance Downtowns and try to come up with a plan that makes sense and come up with a financing plan to make it happen. And that should be the goal, that will be the goal, as I understand it, of this extension that we're voting on tonight.
Any other discussion?
Thank you. I've been involved with land use for quite a long time, and the downtown parcel is a difficult piece of property, to say the least. I'm going to take you back just a little bit, 30-something years ago, or 25 years ago, 1987. During that time, we went through a condominium boom, and condominiums were popping up all over the place. And at that time, I think the city decided to hire a city clerk. And the master plan of development came to the forefront, and there was public hearings on it. And at that time, things changed in Bristol, and part of that decision was to focus high density into the downtown area. Now, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we bought the mall. We tore it down, and then we went out to RFPs, and we went for a first one, and we received one, and it wasn't a very good developer. I think he was just trying to flip the property. And then we went out a second time, and we had 2 proposals. And I was not an elected official, but I was in the audience, like many of you here tonight. And I came to the public hearings, and I bought into what Renaissance had to say. They were growing or they're using their plan off of our plan, basically. So tonight we're being asked to give them an extension. They've been here for 4 years. I look at it, there are a lot of positive things that came from Renaissance. The Bristol Rising Group, the energy that has come from that organization, as well as the grocery store that came. The first one came and didn't succeed, but the second one came. It was because of the efforts of Renaissance. Barley Vine, the 6 units on Summer Street, Firefly, the transaction that had to take place moving McDonald's, that was not easy. Mason Jar, and even in the West End, where we're just starting to make some changes there. I think we do have to, I don't like the proposal that they submitted. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions on the financial side of it. I don't like the fact that they're coming here to ask us for money. However, the economy is the economy, and we've been in an economic downturn since 2008. It's a difficult life being a developer. I just want to correct one thing regarding the building that they are proposing, the first 1A. It's not 6 floors, it is only 4 floors. But I think it's going back to what I'm saying here. I think it's important that we stay at the table for the city. I think we owe it to ourselves because it's been a vacant 17 acres for a long time, and we need to explore options, as many as we have to, in order to make this succeed with Renaissance. And it may not work out. It may not work out. We may get in the room and the numbers may just not work, and they will go their way and we will go our way. But I think we owe it to ourselves as well as Renaissance. So I'm going to be supporting the motion to at least extend the date on this.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think when this whole project started now, this city has a lot invested in it already, and a lot of time, a lot of energy and money. I don't think anybody expected a protracted economic stagnation that we've been facing, and the basic shut-off flow of funds from banks that the investment community is not in for new investments. I think we do owe the time necessary, and we do have to be creative, I think. Other comments?
Yeah, I agree with Renaissance. We'll grant them an extension. However, I would like to see more retail stores go in rather than all apartments. And hopefully we can discuss that and bring it to the table. And the square footage, I think, Ryan, is 682 feet, something like that, for the apartments.
Average, yeah, a little bit over.
Yeah, okay. So those are smaller apartments, and I don't know what type of people you would attract, but you know, and down the street, I think Ferraro's also has about 1,100 square feet or something like that, and the prices will be similar, I think. So let's work on getting some of the retail back in town, and you know, different anchor stores and so forth and so on, and then I would fully support it. Okay. And that's it.
Councilwoman?
Yes, I would like clarification, which I think would be beneficial for everyone. The legal language that we're discussing, am I correct in assuming that it's an extension on what's stipulated as the initial closing date in 7.02, which should have been happening by May 26th. Can someone just walk me through what's going to happen between now and June 16th?
Jen, can you come up with the podium, please? I'm not even going to try to say her last name.
You want me to open my mouth?
I'm going to say it wrong. Jen is the chairwoman of the BDDC. Name and address for record, please.
Good afternoon, good evening. Jennifer Arasimowitz, 60 Orleans Drive, Bristol, Connecticut. For the record, I do live in Bristol, despite what you may have read on the blog today. I have for the past 17 years.
So last night you covered a lot of ground, and it was a very substantive meeting, but I think at the end there was some legalese that seeped into it about extensions and then extensions on extensions, and I thought it might just be beneficial that we know exactly what our vote is that's extending your opportunity through June 16th, because it seemed to me that there was a secondary piece folded into that, not just the May 26th, but something to do with the contract terms.
Yes, ma'am, and just for the record, I am speaking as the chairperson of the BDDC and not as legal counsel, although I am an attorney. But what the board voted on was the first drawdown of the property, the first closing was supposed to happen by May 26th. Obviously, we were also a little disappointed in the plan that was submitted, and there is definitely more work that needs to be done. So an extension needs to be granted in order to continue the process. The extension request that was submitted by Renaissance requested that that initial first closing date be extended through January of 2015. The board was not comfortable granting a blanket extension out until January 2015 at this time. So what we wanted to do was charge legal counsel and potentially a small subcommittee of the board to sit down with representatives of Renaissance and work out an appropriate extension, not only timing, but expected deliverables and conditions and all of that. So what we are asking for is an extension through the date of our next meeting, which is currently scheduled for June 9th, although we don't want to conflict with the Bristol Hospital fundraiser, so that probably will move by a couple of days. But we would like an extension through our next meeting in order to sit down and work out the details of a reasonable extension of that date.
So then it would most likely come back here once you have completed that segment.
Yes, ma'am, because we, being that it's a three-party agreement, we do not have the authority to act alone on this. We need the council to agree to whatever we're going to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair, could I follow up on that point that was just raised? Is that all right with you too, Ellen?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just mentioned that this is a three-party deal. The BDDC, Renaissance, and the City Council.
Correct.
So as you and Renaissance negotiate what an extension might look like beyond June, what is it?
May 26th.
Beyond May 26th, right, okay, I'm sorry. As you negotiate what an extension might look like beyond May 26th, could members of this council be...
I'll answer that. We brought in outside counsel, Attorney Olin, who's here tonight, who was involved representing the city originally when they did the original preferred development agreement with Renaissance, and now he's been brought in to represent the city a month ago, maybe, when we knew there was a Renaissance was putting a proposal in. I brought him back in to represent the city to look at what was going on, and he will be in representing the city in those contract in that extension.
Okay. So no members of the City Council?
No.
Well, except that Councilman Martin is the liaison to the BDDC, so to the extent that there are substantive negotiations with the board, Councilman Martin would be part of those negotiations as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just like clarification on why we now need outside counsel.
Because I felt we wanted someone to come in and look at the plan as a whole, being brought in, who was involved in the negotiation in the original contract drawing up with them. So I brought him in to represent the council and look at the plan as a whole.
So this does not reflect that there's a conflict that exists with the Corporation Counsel's office right now? It's simply for outside counsel, a fresh set of eyes?
Well, yes. And there is potentially a conflict, but there's no contract to make it an official contract. So there's no contract signed, so potentially that there could be a conflict. I took the step to bring in outside counsel. We don't know if there is a conflict yet because no contracts have been signed. There's a name floating around there, but other than that, we don't know. Any other questions? Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor.
I just feel that since everyone else had something to say, I certainly do support an extension. I think Renaissance has done a lot of great things for Bristol, and I'm looking forward to working with them and making this project work.
Thank you. All right. No more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.